Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. As always, I am Katie Batesman, the content director at She Can Code, and today we're discussing retraining and learning from your past experiences. The world of work is changing fast. Trying to change career path partway through your working life is hard, even frightening, but reflecting and learning from your previous experiences can encourage you to explore your future options and find solutions to problems. Today, I have the wonderful Yasmina Bouabdallaoui, product designer at Pennylane, to share our own experiences of professional retraining and how examining your past can help you to rediscover key skills to land a new job. Welcome, Yasmina.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Can we kick off with a little bit of a background about yourself, please?
Sure. So I'm Yasmina. I'm 37 years old. I am a product designer at Pennylane, which is a financial management platform for entrepreneurs and accountants. I've been there for the past year. I have a master's degree in international business, but I have always worked in the tech industry, specifically in healthcare for 8 years. I was a key account manager, so a complete different job that I'm doing today. And then I took a sabbatical year for stop thinking of work and take some time to step back and think about my next step. And when I came back from the trip, I set up my own company in food coaching, where I was mainly in charge of building the product. And then I moved entirely into the product design 3 years ago, following a dedicated bootcamp.
Fabulous. Okay, so I mean, it's quite interesting. You started with an international business degree, and is that something that it kind of appealed to you whilst you were at school and thinking, what do I want to go into in higher education, or what was it about that choice?
Yeah, so I have always wanted to kind of travel when I was younger, and as soon as I could, I studied abroad. So I did a year in Dublin, Ireland, and when I came back, I moved directly into international business. And my first job was actually in the international department of a French startup, which was developing a medical imaging software. So from the start, I knew I wanted to evolve in the international environment, and I made my first years of my career in there.
Amazing. We love to hear the different routes that people take into tech. And I think every time I do one of these podcasts, I hear a different route that somebody has come into the tech industry. So yeah, thank you for sharing your route. And it sounds like as well during your time within the industry that you've moved around a little bit and you've done some extra training to move around. So why do you believe professional retraining is so important, especially for women?
Well, there are several reasons for that. Obviously, coming forward, I think we will be more and more changing our job, and we don't even know what kind of job our children are going to do. So I think it's always really important to keep having this mindset of being able to train ourselves over the time, and I mean, change your job if you need to. So when it comes to women, there are different reasons. I think the first one is career advancement. It's a very good way to acquire new skills, obviously, and knowledge, and help women to take on more challenging roles with hopefully higher pay and more responsibility. I think also it gives a lot of flexibility, because the more you train yourself, the more you kind of are more valuable on the market, and you can kind of ask for specific requests when it comes to how you want to work and your work environment. So when you have like family responsibilities or other commitments, you want to have this kind of flexibility that the retraining can kind of afford at some point. Also, I think it gives confidence, because when you started retraining, you kind of left school for some time, and you tend to forget how much you can learn and get new skills and basically adapt to new situations. So it's a very good way of feeling more empowered. And I think this is really skills and needed skills for women. And eventually, it kind of helped to close the gender gap between men and women, because you maybe you've been through an education and you've done some study that you were not really motivated by, but because of your education, you went to anyway. So, and at some point you're like, well, I'm actually going to do what I've been dreaming of doing for so many years, and I will do a retraining for that. And even though it was kind of a male dominating environment, I'm still able to do it. And then at the end, you kind of get the job that you thought you couldn't have it when you were studying. So it's the perfect way to kind of adapt to the new market, the new world that we're all going into. And I mean, I can't be positive enough about retraining.
Yeah, and I love the fact as well that you just said that it's empowering, because I think some people would think actually it's quite frightening to think about going back to education or you know, even trying something new. I think a lot of us would find that quite daunting, but I love the fact that you just referred to it as empowering, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it can be scary because you sometimes you have to quit your job and you have to start learning new stuff, and it's very tiring. It's very yeah, it's scary, but very quickly you see that you are able to do it. And even though you left school for so many years, and it's never too late. And this feeling is really empowering, because like, well, okay, I am like 37. When I did my retraining, I was 33, 34, and I felt so much in my place, even though I was back to school. And you know, learning is something that we should keep on doing the whole life. And retraining is a very great way of doing this.
I suppose it's easily forgotten as well, isn't it? It's one of those things where people kind of bumble through their career, and you think you just have to take a set path, and that's it. And I suppose a lot of people forget that that's not the only way, and that if you do want to retrain in something else, that opportunity is available for you. I think a lot of us just kind of get wrapped up in the day job, don't they, and perhaps don't make the space to look at other options.
Yeah, and I think well, it depends on the job that you're looking at, but you don't really need years of new learnings to get into a new job. As far as I'm concerned, the bootcamp that I did was a very like intense way, but it was 3 months. And then I did other stuff afterwards. But after 3 months, which is like nothing in your entire career life, I was able to start a new job. So you obviously need to get yourself organized with your family commitments and so on, but it's not like you have to start from scratch and go for like a 3 years studies. There are some retraining programs that are specifically tailored for working people, right?
Yes, it's a misconception, is it, when you think, oh, I have to go back to learning, you automatically think, oh, you know, if I took a either a degree, it's, you know, it would be 3 years, or if I took something that was online and it doubled and it was 6 years, you know, that's quite a commitment. But as you said, there's lots of different options that work for you and whatever stage you're at in your life. I suppose it's just finding the right course for you. If you're looking to the future for your next opportunity, why should you be looking back at your past experiences then?
Well, looking ahead to new opportunities is always, I think, a good time to take stock of what you have achieved, and specifically when you have years before this new opportunity. So when you made it, like when you want to make a career change, you may have a tendency to think, well, I have a little experience in this field. I will be competing with candidates that are much more experienced than me. But we forget that the years that were before the retraining count, and they also should be taken into account. So you don't start from scratch, basically. So I'm taking stock of the skills I have acquired throughout my career and how they will be useful for my future job, even if at first glance it may seem that this will not be the case. And in my situation, for example, the skills of understanding customer needs when I was a key account manager, the skills of project management, negotiation, adaptability, stress management, all that have acquired in my previous years are very useful today. So it's really true for soft skills. You will have to learn new technical skills, but any soft skills that you have acquired are there and can be used for your new opportunities. So with the right mindset, you don't need to throw away all the knowledge and abilities that you have gained, and you can actually leverage them for your new job and your next opportunity.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I think it's something that, again, I think people forget. If you're moving to a different area, it doesn't mean that the years behind you haven't been worthwhile. As you said, you picked up those skills like stress management or organization skills. A few years ago, I moved from a role from being a journalist through to copywriting and working at an advertising agency, which I loved, but it was incredibly new to me. And I had exactly that thought. You know what, I haven't done this before, I'm new to this, and then suddenly you do almost have to reassure yourself, yes, but I've been in work for 17 years or so. All of those skills that I've learned so far have brought me to this point. It's not like I'm completely starting a new career. It's still words, I'm just trying something new. So you're right, it's not like entering the workplace for the first time, and all of those skills that you've learned, you take with you. I think that's easily forgotten, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day at Pennylane?
Sure. Well, they are actually depending on the stage of the design process that I'm in. So when we start a project, I spend a lot of time with my product manager to understand the problem that we are going to try to solve, and interview users. So this is what we call the discovery phase. And I then map out flows that will give an initial solution idea. And I also spend a lot of time with the tech team to understand the feasibility of the solution that we have in mind. And then I design the interfaces and I test those. So these go through several weeks. But in any case, I'm always talking with my product manager and my tech colleagues on a day-to-day basis. And in parallel to those projects, the rest of the design team, we discuss like on a weekly basis our obstacles, our ideas. We also have what we call design critiques, where we present the projects and the almost final interfaces, and we get their feedbacks. And this is a very efficient way of improving what we are going to propose to the users. So yeah, it depends on the phase. Beginning of the process, lots of meetings, lots of interviews, and going through. I'm more in with my design software face to face, and working on the interfaces that we're going to implement.
It sounds like you collaborate with a lot of different team members, and that your job sounds quite varied. Do you find yourself that you learn new things every day, that in Pennylane is that type of company where you're continually learning, even though you're not actually, you know, retraining as such?
Yeah, definitely. So Pennylane is what we call a scale up. So it grows very fast. We went from like 100 employees last year to more than 300 in a year.
Wow.
So we grow very fast, and so is the product. So our scope is getting more and more like complex, and lots of features are required to fit with the market needs. So there are many areas where I learn every day. First, the accounting, of course, because I'm on the accounting part of the product. So this is a complete new area for me. And then depending on the phase of the project, I have also to collaborate with the data team to make sure that what we have in mind as a solution can be measured, for example. So working with the data team is new to me. So I there again learn a lot, and the more the product evolves, the more I have to dig into different way of designing, and well, the design itself is also a continuous way of evolving. So I have to learn every like all the time. Otherwise you kind of get lost.
It sounds like how much fun it is to be part of a company that is growing so fast. I mean, 100 to over 300. You sometimes I speak with ladies on the podcast that have been part of startups, and you have to have a certain mindset, don't you? You have to be able to learn fast and be okay with rapid change, but it's incredibly hard work, but really fun as well. I think that takes a certain person, doesn't it, to be part of a company that's growing that fast?
Yeah, I think it also depends on where you are, and what you want in your life, obviously. Yeah. This is intense. You have to be keen on learning fast. You have to be keen on being autonomous very, very quickly. But on the other hand, I like those changes. I like those new people coming in all the time. I like, because we also have we try to hire people with lots of different backgrounds. So we have lots of diversity in the team, and it's so it's a way of being enriched so much. So I can get bored very quickly. So being in this kind of company allow me to like get motivated all the time, and basically I think it's because I learn stuff all the time as well. So yeah. But it comes with lots of hard work. It comes with sometimes long working hours, not all the time, but yeah, when you go into this kind of company, you have to know the working environment that you will be in, and be okay with it. Otherwise you'd be very very unhappy, I'd say.
Yes, yeah, I completely agree that as long as you know what you're getting yourself into, because it can be so rewarding. On the other hand, as I said, you can have long work hours, but it can be incredibly rewarding being a growing company. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that. There is a stereotype in tech that you have to have a computer science degree at 21 to enter the industry. Is this something you would agree with, or is it never too late to retrain and get into tech, do you think?
Well, of course, I believe having a academic background matching your field is clearly an advantage for any profession. However, and I think it comes back to what I was saying at the beginning, entering the tech sector through professional retraining is also a possible way. And it's no coincidence that many training programs for this have been developed in recent years. On the other hand, do not underestimate the effort that are required to achieve the level expected for your first job. And I think this is really important to keep in mind, because after completing those courses, they are usually a few weeks to a few months length. So recruiters will often see you as a very inexperienced profile who will need a lot of time to become operational, right? So you must therefore prove that you will be autonomous very quickly. So again, taking a step back and looking at the soft skills that you have acquired throughout your career, it's easier to get the technical skills than the soft skills, right? So when you're in front of a recruiter and you say, look, I have done so much in such short of amount of time, so it just shows that I am able to learn. I learn really fast, and in 6 months' time, I'll be as much operational as the other ones. Plus, I'm coming with my X years of experience behind me, so I'm actually a much better profile that you think I would be, and I'm actually not a junior at all.
Yeah.
Even though on this specific job, it's my first job. And I think also building a network, specifically in this new profession, is very important, because you will be able to stand out much better if you have the opportunity to talk with a recruiter apart from the recruitment process, right? And basically show who you are in a more natural way than in front of the recruiter in interview. So as soon as you can, go and talk to any people in this industry to help you building your network and set you apart.
Yes, I love the fact there that you mentioned about being a junior, because you're right. If somebody if a lady was, you know, sort of 20 years into her career, you don't want to be seen as a junior for trying something new or treated differently, because you'd be so used to being treated as somebody that's quite senior. But I think it's that worry, isn't it? Is an employer suddenly going to treat me as like I'm a junior again?
And I think this also, it's not a mindset because it's true, right? But
Yeah.
this can refrain specifically women from getting into those new jobs because they have certain like wage, and that they don't want to go down to the junior level. So it's a tricky moment, but I think the recruiters tend to be more and more aware of how interesting those profiles are for a company.
Yes, absolutely. And what advice would you pass on to other women to help them retrain to progress in the tech industry?
Well, I think I would give the same advice to a woman as to a man. First is getting away from the preconceived notions about tech jobs.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a geek to be an engineer. You don't have to know how to draw to be a designer, right? So that's really important. And then determine your goals and learn the realities of the job and how much work the training entails by meeting people, by listening to podcasts like She Can Code, for example. So at least you know where you will land and the reality of the market. And as I said, the important thing is to start creating your network right away. And instead of waiting until your training is actually complete, because it takes time. And you don't want to wait months before getting your first job. So networking can set you apart in your career, and it's always good to do it as soon as you can, basically. And well, with regards to women, if I have any advice, is dare to step out of your comfort zone, even though it's not really comfort, but dare to step out anyway. Do not be afraid to kind of forge new paths and to challenge the stereotypes that were instilled in your educations. We women tend to forget how much and how strong we are and how adaptable we are. We've proved that for so many years. I think it can be also used for our own career, and it should be. And the tech industry needs women, right? There is a shortage in people with high capabilities. So yeah, to not be afraid of doing this change.
Yes, I love that. And I love not paying any attention to the stereotypes, because it really does set people back and just they don't want to give things a go. I completely agree with you there. We're almost out of time, but I've got one last question. I wanted to ask you a little bit about role models and your role models, because I think that really helps, doesn't it? It helps people go into to choose certain careers, or to have the courage to move forward and try something new. Do you have any role models in particular that you admire?
I'm surrounded with really amazing women. I tend not to take as a model like women at least, who I feel are so far away from my life, because it can be kind of disappointed. You feel like you will never be able to achieve such a career or anything that you admire with this person. So I tend to look at the women that are around me, and I kind of pick stuff that I feel like I am lacking. Like, for example, I have in mind a friend of mine. She's been promoted as the CEO of her company, and she's so assertive, so like earth grounded, and I'm so different, right? So I try to take some of her way of doing to apply to my own job, because I know it's possible, right, to apply those. Otherwise, I like I tend to follow on the social media a lot of feminists or a lot of journalists that talk about gender gap and how far we are from being from the gender equality. And again, there are very like concrete actions that you can make for your own career. Like I read an article like months ago where it kind of blew my mind, because I was like, I was kind of a bit angry of are not being I didn't have like the salary raise that I was hoping for, but I didn't ask for it. And it sounds really stupid, right? But
Did they know? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, but maybe the first thing I should do is asking for stuff, and not being afraid of asking for what I think I deserve, right? And because I was kind of always waiting for stuff to be like granted to me. So I was lucky because I have always been like promoted on time and so on. But when I have the feeling that it doesn't go quick, it's not quick enough, I didn't dare to ask. And that's my next challenge. Ask for what you think you deserve. And it's the first step for for any changes, right? And men don't are not afraid of asking, so we shouldn't be.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. I think as well, some people, I think you tend to think perhaps your employer will just do things and they should just know when to do things, whether it's a pay rise or a change in, offering training for you, or, something to progress your career path. But sometimes you have to voice what you want because it works both ways, and you need an employer that is going to offer you opportunities, but also listen when you need to voice your opinions as well. I think that's so important. That's lovely advice for our listeners. It's lovely advice to end it on, because we are already out of time. And so thank you so much, Yasmina, for coming on and sharing your insights today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you very much for your invite.
Thank you. And to everybody listening, thank you for joining us. And as always, we hope to see you again next time.